Why Searcharoo has the best AI citation and brand mentioning for LLM visibility. So, Karl, the founder of Searcharoo, why is the AI reputation tree great for getting recommended in ChatGPT, Claude, or in Gemini?
So, for people who don't know, it's a system we've now built, which is defining, well, it's got 4 different pillars to it. It defines the entity, so who you are. It defines what you do, so the service offering, why you're freaking brilliant at it. And then it also goes into like a competitive analysis and competitive querying. So we use our algorithm that we've built to define what you need as a brand or business to actually get more exposure in the LLMs. So it could be, you could be great at defining who you are, but you might not be so good at defining the various different services that you offer. So it might know that, you are a business, but it's not too sure on what does your business actually do. So we will then go out there and build various different, doesn't necessarily have to be guest posts, but old school mentality of guest posts kind of changed with LLMs. You don't always need links, but we'll build like mentions and things around the brand, which is attributing that service to you as a business.
Yeah, so obviously the title of the podcast is Why is Searcharoo the best for getting recommended for brands and businesses in ChatGPT, in Claude, in Perplexity, in Grok, in Gemini, and all these different LLMs. Why is it the best? So what I want to do is I want to ask you a few quick fire questions. Right.
DL, not these ones again.
So micro-semantics, how important is it if someone tries to do the AI reputation tree and they go, okay, I think I know what I need to do. How important is micro-semantics when you're writing these articles on third-party corroborative sources?
I would probably say that is one of the most important parts.
Then, so you've gone and wrote a great article. You've done the semantic triples. You've defined the entity. You've said all the services that you provide. You're shouting and screaming about the awards that they've won. You're shouting and screaming about the testimonials. And you're doing it in a very specific way using semantic triples, getting the micro semantics absolutely brilliant. But it's not indexed. How important is indexing these URLs on guest posts and on press releases and using a tool like Indexceptional to get those URLs to be indexed?
So Indexceptional is a brilliant tool, to be fair, and it's one of our partners when it comes to us doing our sort of AI reputation map. And I would say, again, what a fundamental part of the whole process is, if it's not being picked up, it can't be seen. Now, when it comes to like SEO and backlink building, you want the links to be picked up because that's then what the LLM reads. If that site it might even be blocking LLMs because Cloudflare does have that option where you can block LLMs from reading content and things. So obviously we would be doing checks on that to make sure they aren't blocking LLMs and stuff like this. So we definitely know it's going to feed the bot or the various different bots for the different platforms. But yeah, like getting links indexed is like almost fundamental. Social mentions, you can get them indexed. It all just adds to that consensus score and confidence score.
Yeah, so with regards to people wanting AI mentions, they're wanting to get recommended more. They wanted to get these AI citations in ChatGPT, in Claude, in Perplexity, in Grok, and all the different LLMs. Let's say you've gone now and you've wrote the guest post and you've done the semantic triples and you've loaded it into Indexceptional and it's indexed it within minutes. And now it's indexed within Google, but it's on page 7 of Google. Because they're saying it's a competitive kind of term that you're trying to go after. It's on page 7. A lot of people say that it's only the top 50 results. So it's only the first 5 pages is what's being picked up. So it's not being picked up. How important then, when it's indexed, if it's not in the top 50, is it to be doing tier 2 backlinks to power up that page to try to get it within the bucket that it can be being seen by the LLMs?
Again, it's quite important. I would say that's not as important as the micro-semantics and things, because as long as there's more documents out there, that is going to, wrote in the correct way, it's going to improve you more. regardless if, it's sat quite far down in the SERP. But the higher up you can get it, the more chances it has of actually getting traffic direct through it, which is almost the best type of link that you can possibly get. And also the higher chance you have of it being cited within the AI. So of course it is a good thing. But again, I would say I would have that almost as a medium level, like important, yes, but get the fundamentals done first.
Yeah. And then the last one is virality. So this certain virality, whether it's CTR or whether it's social media traffic from different sources. So whether it's like traffic from Reddit or from Twitter or from Instagram or from Facebook or from LinkedIn, there's all these different platforms. And when it starts getting lots of traffic through to a page, it can improve rankings. How important for certain important articles that's defining the entity, defining what the services that you offer, defining why you are brilliant, maybe a comparative article against competition saying why you're better than competition. How important for some of these articles is the virality element to make certain of why Searcharoo offers the best AI citation building service there is on the marketplace.
Again, that's another fundamental part. Like at the end of the day, if people aren't visiting the page, then where's the value? And it's the same with Google. It often demotes pages that don't perform. It's the exact same thing that LLM do. If people aren't visiting this page that's been created with all of this information, what's the point of it citing it? And that's where the social media side, or if you're doing paid ads and things like this, that can really help bolster the results. And that's it's part of the fundamental.
And then I've got the last question, right? So we're going through saying why Searcharoo has got the best AI citation and brand building service there is for getting better LLM visibility. But if someone comes through and fills in the form and says, Karl, I want you to create me one article on a listicle in comparison to competitors. Now, I know straight away you're going to say, well, no, you can't have one article because it's just a single source on the internet, which is just an assumption. You need to build consensus. How important for anyone listening to this is the AI reputation tree of what we've gone and we've built out in our proprietary software of what we have that goes through the 4 pillars, the defining the entity, going through all the attributes and services that they do, making certain they hit home on the reputation, the case studies, the testimonials, the reviews, the awards, and doing the comparative articles, doing all 4 of them pillars and building the consensus. Just explain how one listicle will not move the needle and how that consensus is needed to get recommended by ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini.
So we were chatting on this earlier. It's all about removing that ambiguity. It's all about removing the ambiguity. And one listicle isn't going to do that. Chances are, if you look at your backlink profile, if you've been doing backlinks for a while, you've probably built a bunch, and chances are you've built them wrong. And that's probably quite a bold statement, but you have. When it comes to LLM optimization, I can almost guarantee you built them wrong. And that is kind of where we focus our attention and try to excel, because it's only going to gain more market share. As it becomes quicker, as it becomes more accurate, more intelligent, it's only going to, eventually Google will become just a generative answer engine. So it will create the answer for you.
So if someone's watching this or listening to this and they say, okay, I'm interested. I want to buy the best AI citation service that there is on the marketplace. I want to come to Searcharoo and I want to order it. How can someone reach out? Because obviously we're doing it for iGaming brands, we're doing it for casino brands, we're doing it for sports betting brands, we're doing it for lead generation companies, tradespeople, e-commerce, affiliate. It doesn't really matter on the kind of industry. We're doing it for a lot of different companies and a lot of different brands. However, we don't accept everybody. So if someone says, I'm interested, I want to be recommended more by the AI, I want to be recommended more by ChatGPT, I want to be recommended more by Google AI Overviews and Gemini, how can someone reach out for this AI reputation tree?
So Just before I say where you reach out, I would also say that what we mentioned before, if you're coming to us and you're looking for one link or one listicle, we're not a good fit. The idea is where our package that we've put together for the AI tree, the reputation tree, is designed to actually get results. And if you're not willing to work with us in our exact process, then I'm sorry, you're not really an ideal customer. So yeah, I would definitely come. You have to come with some months there's going to be a ton done on this element of the branch. There's going to be a ton next month done on this element. And, over time, you gain a bigger picture. If you do want to get in touch, it's searcharoo.com and just fill in the contact form. We will 9 times out of 10 come back to you with a big list of questions that we will need an answer to. And then from there, we will decide, can we help you or not? If we can't help you, we'll give you plenty of advice on what you should be doing. You're just not in the right position yet. But yeah, just searcharoo.com and contact form.
I think that's the big part. You might not be in the position yet. And I think anyone who's watching this, the big list of questions is related to the entity, making certain we know who you are, making certain that we know the founded date, the founder, everything that we can hit home on third-party corroborative sources, what you do, all the services that you provide. There's no one better to give us that list than yourself. You know the brand better than we know the brand. Any reviews and testimonials that you love, any case studies that you've done work for, any awards that you might have won. And if you don't have any of these yet, we might say, look, go away and try and get yourself some awards, because what we can then do is amplify it everywhere. And we understand with the micro-semantics and the virality and everything else that comes with it, we understand exactly what is needed to get recommended more by the LLMs. I think it's key. So make sure you do what Karl said, reach out to searcharoo.com, fill in the contact form. We'll ask you loads of questions. Hopefully you fit. And if you do, you can then go and order the AI reputation tree and start getting recommended more within the LLMs. Karl, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Cheers, man.